Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above by your sibling spirit guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Hey Maureen, hey everyone, this is Brian.
Hey, Brian, we're so happy to be here. If you can believe it, on this podcast, we share daily channelings we receive from star beings, ascended masters, mythical beings who really exist, and occasionally our ancestors. And today's topic is Earth's hidden wisdom. Brian, I mean, honestly, this does sound like a Hollywood movie. We're talking about Earth's flame, which is protected by immortal soldiers, the true shape of this planet, and a plea to unite those who dwell above and below the earth. I mean, come on. I could see, I could definitely see a Hollywood movie like Earth's Flame being protected by immortal soldiers coming to you in June.
Totally. Yeah, but it's some action movie. Well, they have like some of these are like action movies and like but we'll get into that. Yeah, so I could totally see it too. Maybe we should become screenwriters, Maureen. What do you think?
Our second or third careers. Yeah, it sounds great. But this first one is fascinating. It's about Earth's true shape, and they begin with a plea for our listeners. So, yes, Brian, you want to kick us off? This is from July 3rd of 2024.
Yeah. So they say we begin at once with the optical illusion, which is your horizon. The horizon exists as a fundamental envelope which seals the end of your known world. Much has been made known of these oddities with regards to the oval circular plane. This may be hard for you to grasp, but the circle which envelopes your world is not as earthlings imagine. They see the Earth globe as a perfectly round ball circulating the sun with other perfect circles. In truth, the Earth is longer than it is wider. Just as the oval shapes of your head are not perfectly round, there may be a bump or ridge from a fall or just as a natural occurrence. The same is true with the heavenly bodies. They are not as envisioned as in your earthly materials. In this way, we see that your governmental bodies do you a disservice and that you cannot accurately see the place upon which you live. This is as if you gazed upon yourself in the mirror, seeing a person who is not reflective of who you are. It's important. There is knowledge and power in knowing the true condition of where you reside. We ask that you listen to these recordings to reconsider we ask that those that listen to these recordings reconsider their blockade on the true information with regards to the natural beauty which resides on your planet. So I know I'm almost done, but let me just stop there. So they're saying that the true people in charge and that are listening to our recordings and listening to everything, I'm sure, are holding this information back, which is it's sort of a weird one. Like, why does it have to be perfectly circular? What is the point of like this mistruth or this holding the true information back? I don't get that.
I'll tell you what, because there's a power with the real image of the planet. So imagine with all of the visualizations, so many meditations we do are based on visualizations. And when we don't have the correct image of what the planet looks like, we're not able to put forth a fully powerful visualization because our visualizations are inherently flawed. And I will once again point out all those pictures from NASA, which, by the way, our father worked for NASA, but all those pictures from NASA of like just the perfect planet. And I point out again, like, where are all the where is all the hardware that's up in the sky? You know what I mean? There's no way those photos are real. So not having the real image of what this planet looks like is really detrimental to each and every one of us. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah. It seems like such a silly. I mean, if it's not like, I mean, there's those that say the Earth is flat. They're not saying that. It's saying it's just not a perfectly circle. It's just oval, and it's got little bumps and things like that, and it's not like perfectly oval. Yeah. So, but it's just interesting that that is being withheld from us. But anyway, they go on to say they have the power to release the true pictures of what this planet looks like. This simple act, which could be done by one individual working in a rogue nature, could or would elevate the entire consciousness of the planet, just as you mentioned. We ask that those that listen to these recordings to consider the importance of the weighty importance of the simple act that they can complete. We would indeed be most indebted for their gracious help. But we'll see. I don't I don't think we're in those people listening are probably in alignment with what they're asking here, but you never know.
I believe so. Like, I believe it's all possible. I mean, it may not be on CBS News, but Brian sends me alternative news sources all the time about new discoveries. Like, it'd definitely be on one of those. And yeah, I think it would be most helpful to really know what the planet looks like.
Yeah, I'm dying to see it. It would be interesting to see.
And
Uh,
I also think, Brian, and I'll let you continue, but I also think, like, once these things started, it's like you have to continue the lie. Like, it's like, once NASA started down this path, like how do you go all the way back and be like, oh, for the last 50 years or 40 years we've been putting out this stuff? Well, it's not correct. So they just continue with the lie. You know what I mean?
yeah, right. Once the small little lies they build on each other, and you can't go away from it. So I understand that. Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Gonna say
that. So
anything else?
I learned something new here myself. So that's it's really fascinating.
So, yeah, as fascinating as that one is, wait to hear this one. June 8th of 2024, Earth's eternal flame is hidden in the seas. Another Hollywood movie. Hello, we hearken from the far reaches of this galaxy. We see that you and others have requested real information that has the power to transform lives. We are known as the Brethren of the Divine Holy Light. We monitor the force implanted into all beings, for all beings are indeed manifestations of the one Creator. We come forth now encircling you in a hallowed ball of love and light, which spreads far into the heavens. We wish to correct misperceptions about the light guarded within the sacred flame of the hallowed halls of Amenti. These lights are imperceptible to present human eyes. However, they guarded by imperceptible beings, soldiers who serve for time immemorial protecting this divine light. However, the flame of the light of this planet resides elsewhere within the seas. The location changes as the divine feminine desires to bestow her heavenly light in one particular place of the planet or another. As humans are yet to be trusted with this eternal flame, the location is in the seas. And then I kind of got the feeling that it was in Iceland. I said, is Iceland the correct location? They said, we shall not release the location as other ears listen to these communications. Any location noted would be changed by the divine feminine to further protect and secure the light of this planet. Okay, so we're not trusted with the location of the eternal flame of earth. So it's in the seas. And it changes based on where the divine feminine wishes to bestow her light. What do you think about that, Brian?
Well, I was thinking of one of the Drunvalo books that talked about the changing but that's different. But it was talking about how we're moving the feminine energy and it's like a 12,000 year period and it moved from one location to another and he helped that process and it talked about that in the book. But is this different from that or what's your take on that?
No, that was a kundalini of the earth. So the kundalini of the
Okay.
earth moves, I think he said every 2,500 years. So it moved, which makes people, this makes perfect sense. It used to be in Tibet, in the Himalayas, in Tibet, and like India. And think about like all the people who used to go to India to become enlightened and not that people still don't do that, but it's not as prevalent as it was like 20 years ago. And it's because, and he was involved in moving this, the Kundalini of the earth is now in the Andes. It's in the Andes, it's in Peru and Bolivia and Chile. And that's where it is. And that's why I like to go down there at least once a year because you can definitely feel it. Like it's transformational to get anywhere near that Kundalini of the earth. And remember, they had to get all these native tribes because the Kundalini of the earth could not move over the Panama Canal because it was man-made. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, this is the divine feminine. This is the light protected by the divine feminine. So this is like something totally, totally different. But, I think of it as like we each have our divine spark that we're carrying of the one creator, and this is the divine spark of the planet. So, of course, it needs to be protected and hidden. I hate to say it from humans right now, but it's fascinating, just fascinating. And I've never heard anything about this from any other source. Have you?
No, no, definitely not. Really interesting. Well, yeah, we don't know. We don't want to know where it is. We
I
don't,
don't just move.
yeah, let's just move it anyway. But it really interesting. Something else I would love to, learn more about. But I'll go on. The next session is from September 29th, 2025. Revere the beings who live below the earth and in the seas. We wish to discuss the aquatic life on your planet. The blue planet is so noted for the spacious waters that absorb much of your earthly realm. We find it laughable and curious that you do not treat the revered beings who live within these depths as equal partners in the shared responsibilities of managing your planet's resources. Our analogy would be that of a little child assuming the position on a throne, pretending to be what they are not, nor what they have the capacity to do. The wise ones on your planet live beneath the seas and beneath the earth. It is time for you to acknowledge this truth. Just as you revere the heavenly bodies who aspire to assist humanity, we request that you immediately begin the adoration process for the wise and wonderful beings who live beneath your seas. Their stewardship of the planet saved it from destruction. They require no thanks. They only wish for a sustainable, fruitful partnership. It's as if two family members decided to no longer speak together, though they share the same house. That would create a place of impossible tension. This friction naturally occurs and cannot be dissipated until you acknowledge the rightful place of the great ones beneath your seas and lands. Well, let's do that. Let's honor those souls. And we've talked about, I know, a number of different underwater beings, but yeah, I think that this is not known to most people, right? This is something that most people are definitely not aware of and probably wouldn't believe if you told them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's this general consensus that, what's above is like heavenly and of divine light and is of assistance. And I think it comes from the old analogy of like heaven and hell. And what's
Right.
below is like dark and not to be trusted and not to be engaged with. And while in truth, like, like they said, the beings below have saved the planet, you know? So, and that's something that they're talking about a lot in recent channelings is reunification. And they're talking about reunification with the one creator, but I also think they're talking about unification with the beings who live above us and below us and on different levels of existence and just becoming one with them as well. So yeah, I think it's absolutely, acknowledging and getting that. I love the analogy of we're like toddlers sitting on a throne, getting off the throne and allowing the throne to go to those who rightfully can manage it, right?
Right. And it's really interesting because we've had other sessions, we've talked, it's not just below the seas, but also below the earth itself, where there's all sorts of beings and that live, and that's hard to fathom for most people, but it's the truth. And you're right. That's exactly the case, I think, with Christianity. Most people with a lot of Christian beliefs being about hell, that they don't want to believe that there's positive beings that are helping the earth that live beneath the earth, So I think there's a lot of that goes into sort of this, probably this issue as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it even goes back further. I mean, you go back to the Greek myths where you've got Hades or, even the Egyptian myths, the same thing. So, but yeah, I'll go on to the closing, which is kind of a similar thing, is that we're not alone. There's two messages here. The first one from September 23rd, 2025. And they asked me, "What would you like to know, darling child?" And I asked, "What is important for humanity to know at this time?" They said, "A worthy question, wise one. We shall consult. Give us one moment, please." Then they said, "The biggest single aspect that all of humanity should realize is that they do not dwell alone within their abodes, within their seas, within their skies. For there are always loving beings attending to all matters of the earthly realm. O children of men, wake up and realize the greater glory of the one spreads beneath your fingertips. We provide the examples of pets. You love your darling little children in their furry forms, whether meeting an animal or in a park or cuddling up with them in your private dwellings. We encourage you to view your heavenly brethren as the same, a darling to attend, to cuddle up to, and confide with. We are here to be enamored with. The greater glory of the one requires the full fruition of the bodily form extended outward in its full expansion of love and light. This requires engagement with all those beings who come across path.
Uh,
So, what do you think about that, brother?
yeah, I mean, it's just something else to be aware of, right? It's the I think people have always asked about this, and there's been so much more released about, UFOs, but there's still so much fear about that, and it's, you know, nothing to fear, that we're not alone, and there's beings, as we've talked in other episodes, that are here to assist with this transition that we're going through, and so yeah, just really good message that I think we could all learn from.
So, do you want to go on the last one, which is again, we are not alone on Earth from October 21st, 2025.
Sure. We bequeath upon your glorious vision of our future with humanity. Rise, dear ones, rise to meet your heavenly brethren. The time is now to reach forward and connect with those that have loved, have long serviced your claims, wishes, desires, lightened your workloads, fostered relationships, and birthed new ideas. We bequeath on you and bestow on you the ability to walk among us as desired equals. You are no longer shackled to the core elements of the planet upon which you ride upon. So, what do you make of that as far as the being equals and not shackled to the planet?
Yeah, Brian, I mean, I really feel like we're getting this as a new consistent message, like that, we have to work. We've always talked about like, free will and that you have to ask for help. But I feel like it's going a step further now, and in that there really needs to be a partnership. There really needs to be a partnership and realize, I mean, we're lucky enough that we can see and hear and feel the beings that are around us and know that we're never alone. But it's just like really engaging with them and turning things over to them and listening to what they have to say. And, life is better, it's richer, it's more fun.
Yeah,
Right?
right. I mean, that's the great message here, to connect with those that, and they're assisting you. And again, we always talk about this. You have to ask for help, but ask for help and reach out and collaborate with those that are really able to assist you in so many different ways, like we've mentioned. So,
Yeah. So anyway, I hope you all have found this useful, and we'll talk to you all next week.
bye, everyone.